Morocco, officially known as the Kingdom of Morocco, is a North African country with a rich tapestry of culture, history, and geography. It's a land of contrasts, where ancient traditions blend with modern aspirations, and where diverse landscapes unfold from mountain ranges to desert expanses and coastal shores. Geographical diversity. Northern Morocco, characterized by the Rif Mountains, Mediterranean coastline, and historic cities like Tangier and Tetouan. This region has strong historical ties to Europe and the Mediterranean world. Central Morocco, home to the nation's political capital, Rabat, and its economic heart, Casablanca. The fertile plains and the majestic Atlas Mountains dominate this region. Southern Morocco, known for its Sahara Desert landscapes, oases, and historic caravan routes. Cities like Marrakesh and Ouarzazate showcase Morocco's famous hospitality and vibrant cultural traditions. Western Morocco features the Atlantic coastline with important port cities like Essaouira and Agadir, known for fishing industries and beautiful beaches. Cultural richness. Morocco's culture reflects its unique position as a bridge between Africa, Europe, and the Arab world. The population is predominantly Arab-Berber, with Berber, Amazigh, heritage playing a significant role in the country's identity. Moroccan culture is expressed through distinctive architecture featuring intricate geometric patterns, rich culinary traditions like tagine, couscous, and mint tea, traditional music and arts including Nawa and Andalusian styles, craftsmanship in leatherwork, pottery, metalwork, and textiles. Historical legacy. Morocco's history spans millennia, from ancient Berber kingdoms to Roman influence, Islamic conquests, and the prestigious dynasties that followed: Idrisid, Almoravid, Almohad, Marinid, Saadi, and Alawite. The French and Spanish Protectorate period, 1912 to 1956, left its mark before Morocco regained independence under King Mohammed V. Modern Morocco. Today, Morocco is a constitutional monarchy under King Mohammed VI, who has implemented significant social and economic reforms. The country has developed a mixed economy with strengths in agriculture, tourism, manufacturing, and renewable energy. Morocco has also positioned itself as a regional leader in Africa and maintains strategic partnerships with both Western and Arab nations. Challenges and aspirations. Like many nations, Morocco faces challenges including economic disparities between urban and rural areas, youth unemployment, and environmental concerns. However, the country continues to pursue development through initiatives in education, infrastructure, and green energy, while preserving its unique cultural heritage. Ancient foundations. Morocco's recorded history begins with the indigenous Berber, Amazigh, tribes, who established some of North Africa's earliest organized societies. The Phoenicians and Carthaginians established trading posts along the coast as early as the 8th century BCE, followed by Roman annexation of northern Morocco into the province of Mauritania Tingitana. The Roman ruins of Volubilis stand today as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, offering silent testimony to this classical era. Islamic dynasties and imperial golden ages. The Arab-Islamic conquest in the late 7th century CE transformed Morocco's cultural and religious landscape. The founding of the Idrisid dynasty in 789 CE established the first Moroccan Islamic state, with Fez as its capital. This began a succession of powerful dynasties. Almoravids, 1040 to 1147, created an empire stretching from modern-day Senegal to Spain, unifying religious practice and establishing Marrakesh as a new imperial capital. Almohads, 1121 to 1269, built the largest North African empire in history, with territory spanning from Libya to Portugal, leaving behind architectural marvels like the Koutoubia Mosque and Giralda of Seville. Marinids, 1244 to 1465, focused on consolidating Moroccan territory and established Fez as a center of Islamic learning, building the famous Bu Aynaniya and Al-Adarin madrasas. Sadians, 1549 to 1659, repelled Portuguese invasions and controlled trans-Saharan gold trade, leaving the stunning Saadian tombs in Marrakesh. Alawites, 1666 present the current ruling dynasty, which reunified Morocco and maintained independence while European powers colonized surrounding regions. Colonial era and struggle for independence. The early 20th century brought European colonial ambitions. The 1912 Treaty of Fez established French and Spanish protectorates over Morocco, dividing the country into administrative zones. This period witnessed significant infrastructure development but also resistance movements. The independence movement coalesced around Sultan Muhammad V, whose exile by French authorities in 1953 galvanized national sentiment. Morocco regained independence in 1956, followed by the recovery of Tangier in 1960 and the Spanish Sahara, Western Sahara, in 1975. 2. Geographic and ecological diversity, a continent within a country. Mountain systems. The Atlas Mountains, dividing Morocco into distinct climatic zones, comprising High Atlas, North Africa's highest peaks, including Mount Toubkal, for 167 m, with Berber villages and terraced agriculture. Middle Atlas, forested ranges with cedar forests and seasonal lakes. Anti-Atlas, arid, lunar landscapes merging into the Sahara. The Rif Mountains, Mediterranean mountain range in the north with unique biodiversity and the cultural heartland of the Rifian Berbers. Coastal regions. Mediterranean coast, 500 kilometers of rugged coastline with cliffs, coves, and the Spanish enclaves of Ceuta and Melilla. Atlantic coast, over 2,900 kilometers with sandy beaches, dunes, lagoons, and important port cities including Casablanca, Rabat and Essaouira. Desert and oases. The Sahara covers southeastern Morocco, featuring Erg Chebbi near Merzouga, iconic golden dunes reaching 150 meters. Erg Chigaga, more remote dunes sea accessible via camel trek. Dra Valley, world's longest oasis with prehistoric rock carvings and ancient kasbahs. Ziz Valley, palm groves stretching over 100 kilometers. Climate zones. Remarkably varied climates exist simultaneously. Mediterranean, northern and coastal regions with mild, wet winters and hot, dry summers. Continental, inland areas with greater temperature extremes. Mountain, alpine conditions with winter snow in the high Atlas. Desert, Sahara region with extreme temperature fluctuations and minimal precipitation. 3. Cultural mosaic, the fabric of Moroccan identity. Demographic composition. Morocco's population of approximately 37 million comprises Arab Berber majority. Most Moroccans have mixed Arab and Amazigh ancestry after centuries of intermingling. Amazigh, Berber, communities, distinct groups including the Klu, Tashelhit speakers, of the Atlas and Sus, the Rifians, Tarifit speakers, of the north, and the Central Atlas Tamazight speakers. Historic minorities, Moroccan Jews, with a 2,000-year presence, though largely emigrated since 1948, Sub-Saharan Africans, and Europeans. Languages of Morocco. Arabic, official language, with modern Standard Arabic used officially and Darija, Moroccan Arabic, as the daily vernacular. Amazigh languages, recognized as official languages alongside Arabic in the 2011 Constitution, with 3 main varieties. French, widely used in business, education, government, and media as a legacy of the Protectorate. Spanish, spoken in northern regions and the Sahara. English, growing in popularity, especially among youth and in business sectors. Religious landscape. Islam, the state religion, with 99% of citizens identifying as Sunni Muslims of the Maliki school. Morocco maintains a moderate interpretation of Islam under the king's religious authority as Commander of the Faithful. Other faiths, small Christian and Jewish communities practice freely, with the king sponsoring restoration of Jewish heritage sites. Cultural expressions. Architecture, distinctive styles including Moorish Andalusian, intricate geometric zellige tilework, carved stucco, woodwork, and horseshoe arches. Kasbah architecture, fortified earthen structures of southern Morocco. Riads, traditional inward-focused houses with interior gardens. Vernacular architecture, adapted to climate, like the cliff dwellings of the Dades Valley. Cuisine, UNESCO-recognized intangible cultural heritage, featuring staple dishes, couscous, typically served Fridays, tagines, slow-cooked stews, pastilla, savory sweet pie, and harira, lentil soup. Street food, msemen, flatbread, bisera, fava bean soup, snails, and grilled meats. Beverages, mint tea, the national drink, freshly squeezed orange juice, and traditional fermented drinks. Arts and crafts. Textiles, Berber carpets, embroidered fabrics, and jalaba weaving. Pottery, distinctive blue phase pottery and Safi's multicolored styles. Metalwork, intricate lanterns, tea trays, and decorative items. Leatherwork, particularly from the tanneries of Fez and Marrakesh. Music and performance. Traditional, Andalusian classical music, Amazigh folk music, Nawa spiritual music, UNESCO listed, and Chabi popular music. Festivals, numerous cultural and religious festivals including the Fez Festival of World Sacred Music, Marrakesh International Film Festival, and local Muslims, Saint Festivals. 4. Political structure and governance. Constitutional monarchy. Morocco is a constitutional monarchy with King Mohammed VI as head of state and commander of the faithful. The 2011 constitution, developed following Arab Spring protests, enhanced parliamentary powers while maintaining royal prerogatives in strategic domains. Government structure. Executive, headed by the king, who appoints the prime minister from the largest parliamentary party and approves cabinet members. Legislative, bicameral parliament with 395-member House of Representatives, directly elected, and 120-member House of Councillors, indirectly elected. Judicial, independent judiciary with constitutional court as highest authority. Regionalization, advanced decentralization with 12 administrative regions enjoying significant autonomy. Foreign policy. Morocco maintains a multidimensional foreign policy. African focus, returned to the African Union in 2017 after 33-year absence and plays leading role in West African stability and development. Strategic partnerships, close ties with Gulf states, the United States, major non-NATO ally status, and the European Union, advanced status partnership. Regional relations, normalized relations with Israel in 2020, ongoing tensions with Algeria over Western Sahara and border closure. International involvement, contributor to UN peacekeeping and member of Arab League, OIC, and Mediterranean Dialogue. Economic landscape, development and challenges. Economic sectors. Agriculture, employs about 40% of workforce, major producer of citrus fruits, vegetables, olives, and wine. Green Morocco Plan aims to modernize sector. Tourism, vital sector attracting over 12 million visitors annually, pre-pandemic, to cultural sites, beaches, and desert experiences. Manufacturing, automotive industry becoming regional hub with Renault and Peugeot plants. Aerospace, textiles, and food processing also significant. Phosphates, Morocco controls approximately 70% of world phosphate reserves, representing crucial export revenue. Renewable energy, ambitious plans to generate 52% of electricity from renewables by 2030, with major solar plants in the Sahara. Development initiatives. Infrastructure, high-speed rail, first in Africa, modern highway network, expanding port facilities including Tangermed, largest in Mediterranean Africa. Social development, National Human Development Initiative targeting poverty reduction, reigned health insurance for low-income families, and education reforms. Economic zones, Casablanca Finance City attracting African headquarters of multinational corporations, and industrial acceleration zones. Economic challenges. Unemployment, persistently high, especially among youth, over 20%, and university graduates. Regional disparities, coastal urban centers far more developed than rural and mountainous interior. Water scarcity, declining water tables and frequent droughts affecting agriculture and rural communities. Informal economy, estimated at 30 to 40% of GDP, limiting tax base and labor protections. 6. Western Sahara, the enduring question. The Western Sahara dispute represents Morocco's most significant political challenge. Historical context: former Spanish colony annexed by Morocco in 1975 following the Green March. Current status: Morocco controls approximately 80% of the territory, administering it as its southern provinces, with substantial autonomy offered. Opposition: Polisario Front, supported by Algeria, demands independence based on historical claims and UN self-determination resolutions. International recognition: over 40 countries have opened consulates in Moroccan-administered Western Sahara since 2018, signaling growing acceptance of Moroccan sovereignty claims. Development efforts: Morocco has invested heavily in infrastructure and social services in the region, promoting economic integration. 7. Contemporary social dynamics. Education system. Traditional Quranic schools coexist with modern French-modeled education. Recent reforms emphasize Arabization, teaching in Arabic versus French language instruction debate. Vocational training, expansion to address skills mismatch in labor market. Higher education, growing university enrollment with 12 public universities and numerous private institutions. Women's rights. Significant legal reforms under Mohammed VI. 2004 Family Code, Mutawana raised marriage age to 18, granted women right to divorce, and restricted polygamy. Political representation, quota system has increased women's parliamentary representation to over 20%. Social changes, rising female workforce participation and educational attainment, though traditional attitudes persist in rural areas. Youth and digital transformation. With a median age of 29, Morocco's youth are driving change. Digital adoption, high mobile penetration and growing tech startup ecosystem. Cultural expression, thriving music, art, and film scenes blending traditional and modern influences. Migration aspirations, significant brain drain as educated youth seek opportunities abroad, particularly in Europe. Preservation and modernization. Balancing heritage conservation with development. Medina preservation, UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Fez, Marrakesh, Essaouira, and other cities facing pressures of tourism and modernization. Amazigh culture revival, official recognition of language, festivals, and heritage after decades of marginalization. Environmental challenges, addressing water scarcity, desertification, and coastal pollution through initiatives like seawater desalination and reforestation. 8. Morocco in the 21st century, prospects and pathways. Strategic Vision 2030 to 2040. Morocco has articulated ambitious national development plans focusing on economic diversification, reducing dependence on agriculture and phosphates. Energy independence, leveraging solar and wind potential for domestic use and European export. Human capital development, education and healthcare improvements to leverage demographic dividend. African leadership, positioning as gateway to African markets and mediator in regional conflicts. Regional integration. Infrastructure links, developing as transport and logistics hub between Europe and West Africa. Security cooperation, key counterterrorism partner in Sahel region and intelligence sharing. Cultural diplomacy, promoting moderate Islam through training of imams from African and European countries. Global positioning. Morocco navigates complex international relationships. EU relations, deep economic integration while negotiating fisheries and agricultural agreements. U.S. partnership, strategic military cooperation and free trade agreement since 2006. China engagement, growing infrastructure investments under Belt and Road Initiative. South-South cooperation, development programs in African countries, particularly in the Sahel. The Moroccan paradox. Morocco embodies a study in contrasts and coexistence, ancient Medinas alongside modern cities, snow-capped mountains bordering desert expanses, traditional values integrating with global modernity. Under the steady, if gradual, reforms of Muhammad VI, the kingdom navigates the delicate balance between preservation and progress, between its African roots and global aspirations. The Moroccan model, of incremental reform under stable monarchy, cultural confidence combined with economic pragmatism, and regional leadership amid domestic challenges, offers a distinctive pathway in a turbulent region. While challenges of inequality, unemployment, and regional disputes persist, Morocco's strategic geographic position, cultural richness, and political stability position it as a potentially influential player in both African and Mediterranean spheres in the coming decades. Historical foundations of authority. The Alauite dynasty, ruling since the 17th century, has built legitimacy through religious authority. The king's title, Commander of the Faithful, Emir al-Mu'minin, connects political leadership with spiritual guidance, unique among Arab monarchies. Historical continuity. Direct descent from the Prophet Muhammad provides religious and historical legitimacy. National symbolism. Successful resistance to colonial domination, particularly under Muhammad V, established the monarchy as embodiment of national independence. Muhammad VI's reformist reign, 1999-present. The current monarch has implemented significant transformations. Political liberalization. 2011 constitutional reforms expanded parliamentary powers and recognized Amazigh language. Social initiatives. National Human Development Initiative, NDH, addressing poverty with $2 billion investment since 2005. Economic vision. Emergence Plan 2014 to 2020 and current new development model focusing on private sector growth. Foreign policy pivot. Return to African Union, leadership in West African stability, and Abraham Accords normalization with Israel. Symbolic changes. King of the people, image cultivated through frequent public appearances, addressing previously taboo topics. The Moksin, traditional governance structure. The historical administrative system continues to influence modern governance. Regional governance, royal appointees, governors, Wallace, maintain significant authority alongside elected officials. Business elites, interconnected network of royal-aligned business families controlling major economic sectors. Military establishment, king serves as military chief, with armed forces maintaining loyalty to monarchy rather than government. B. Religious landscape, Islam in Moroccan society. Institutional framework. Ministry of Islamic Affairs, controls religious messaging, mosque appointments, and Friday sermon content nationwide. Ulama councils, religious scholars organized regionally under High Ulama Council chaired by the king. Imam training program, Rabat-based Muhammad VI Institute training imams from Morocco, Africa, and Europe in moderate Maliki Islam. Religious diversity within unity. Sufi traditions, long-standing tariqas, brotherhoods, including Bauchikichia, Tijaniya, and Qadiriya remain influential, particularly in rural areas. Salafi movements, range from apolitical quietists to activist movements, with government closely monitoring potential extremism. Historical religious minorities. Jewish heritage, once 250,000 strong, now approximately 2,500 remain, but heritage preservation is state priority with restored melas, Jewish quarters, and annual pilgrimage festivals. Christian communities, approximately 20,000 to 40,000, mostly expatriates, with historical churches in major cities. Counter-radicalization strategy. Morocco's approach since the 2003 Casablanca bombings. Security measures, extensive surveillance and anti-terror legislation. Religious counter-narrative, promotion of tolerant Maliki school Islam through media and education. Socio-economic prevention, development programs in vulnerable neighborhoods and prison rehabilitation programs. C. Economic deep dive, sectors and strategies. Phosphate dominance and diversification challenge. OCP Group, state-controlled phosphate company accounts for approximately 3% of GDP and 12% of exports. Value-added strategy, moving beyond raw material export to fertilizer production with plants in Ethiopia, Nigeria, and plant facilities in Latin America. Geopolitical leverage, control of 70% plus of world reserves provides significant diplomatic and economic influence. Automotive industry success story. Evolution, from simple assembly in 1990s to full production ecosystem with 250+ suppliers. Export focus, over 80% of production exported, making Morocco Africa's largest vehicle exporter. Electric vehicle transition, attracting investment in EV battery production and component manufacturing. Agricultural modernization paradox. Green Morocco Plan, $12 billion investment increasing high-value fruit/vegetable production for European markets. Water resource challenge, agriculture consumes 85% of water resources amid decreasing rainfall and groundwater depletion. Social impact, modernization benefits large agribusiness while small farmers struggle with water access and market competition. Tourism evolution. Vision 2020, shift from mass beach tourism to higher-value cultural, desert, and adventure tourism. Infrastructure investment, 200,000 plus new hotel beds, marina developments, and restored historic medinas. COVID impact and recovery, severe 2020 contraction but strong 2022 to 2023 rebound exceeding pre-pandemic levels. Renewable energy leadership. Solar power, Noor-Ouarzazate complex among world's largest concentrated solar plants with 580 megawatts capacity. Wind resources, Tarfaya Wind Farm, 301 megawatts, as Africa's largest, with total wind capacity exceeding 1,400 megawatts. Green hydrogen potential, pilot projects exploring solar/wind-powered hydrogen production for European export. Regional disparities and development challenges. The useful Morocco versus profound Morocco divide. French colonial terminology still reflecting economic geography. Atlantic coastal zone, Casablanca-Rabat-Kenitra axis generating over 60% of GDP with 25% of population. Northern Rif region, historically marginalized despite Mediterranean access, with poverty rates double national average. Atlas and southeastern regions, limited infrastructure, highest poverty, and significant seasonal migration. Urbanization dynamics. Rapid urban growth, 63% urbanization rate, with expansion of informal settlements, bidonvilles, around major cities. Megacity challenges, Casablanca metropolitan area, 7+ million, faces traffic congestion, pollution, and service provision difficulties. Secondary city development, efforts to develop cities like Tangier, Fez, and Marrakesh as regional economic poles. Water crisis and climate vulnerability. Severe water stress, renewable water resources below 650 cubic meters per capita annually, World Bank scarcity threshold, 1,000 cubic meters. Agricultural impact, cereal production regularly affected by drought, with 2022 harvest 69% below average. Adaptation measures, seawater desalination expansion, drip irrigation promotion, and dam construction, 140+ major dams. Socio-cultural transformations. Youth, aspirations and frustrations. Demographic reality, 25% of population aged 15 to 29, with highest unemployment rates in this group. Educational mismatch, high university enrollment but curricula not aligned with labor market needs. Cultural expression, underground music scenes, social media activism, and increased public debate on previously taboo topics. Migration pressure, regular interception of migration attempts to Spain reflects limited opportunity perceptions. Gender dynamics in transition. Legal advances, 2004 family code reforms were revolutionary in regional context but implementation varies. Political representation, constitutional quota increased women's parliamentary seats to 24% but executive positions remain male-dominated. Workforce participation, female labor force participation remains under 25%, with significant urban-rural divide. Violence against women, 2018 law criminalizing forms of gender-based violence, but enforcement challenges persist. Language politics and identity. Arabization policy reversal, after decades promoting Arabic in education, gradual reintroduction of French in scientific subjects. Amazigh cultural renaissance, official language status, TV channel, and increasing public visibility after historical marginalization. English ascendancy, growing preference among youth and business community over French. F. International relations and strategic positioning. Western Sahara diplomacy. Recent diplomatic gains, over 40 countries opened consulates in Dakhla/Layoun, including 15 African nations. U.S. recognition, 2020 recognition of Moroccan sovereignty in exchange for normalization with Israel. EU position, divided between Spain's recent policy shift supporting autonomy plan and European Parliament human rights concerns. African Union dynamics, readmission shifting organizations Western Sahara stance despite Algerian opposition. European interdependence. Trade relations, EU accounts for 55% of trade, with advanced status in European neighborhood policy. Migration partnership, key partner controlling irregular migration to Europe, with Euro funding for border management. Energy cooperation, potential electricity exports via undersea cables and green hydrogen partnership. Transatlantic relationship. Strategic partnership, major non-NATO ally since 2004, with annual African Lion military exercises. Free trade agreement, since 2006, with trade doubling to $5+ billion annually. Security cooperation, intelligence sharing and counterterrorism coordination. African re-engagement. Economic expansion, Moroccan banks, insurers, and telcos among most Pan-African businesses. Security role, contributing troops to UN missions and supporting Sahel counterterrorism efforts. South-South development, technical assistance and investment across Francophone Africa. Middle Eastern balancing. Gulf relations, strong ties with UAE and Saudi Arabia, with significant investment flows. Qatar rapprochement, ended 2017 to 2021 diplomatic rift over regional politics. Iran tensions, accusing Tehran of supporting Polisario, severed diplomatic relations 2018. G. Future scenarios and critical uncertainties. Succession planning. Mohammed VI, age 60, has begun preparing Crown Prince Moulay Hassan, age 20, for future leadership through gradual introduction, increased ceremonial appearances and international engagements. Education, multilingual training in Moroccan, European, and American educational institutions. Challenge, transition to younger, digitally native monarch amidst changing public expectations. Economic transition pathways. Optimistic scenario, successful implementation of new development model achieving 5 to 6% sustained growth through private sector expansion and green transition. Pessimistic scenario, continued structural unemployment, water crisis impacts, and reduced European demand creating social tensions. Critical factor, ability to create quality jobs for 300,000 plus annual new labor market entrants. Climate change impacts. Projections, temperature increases exceeding global average, precipitation decreases of 10 to 20%, and increased extreme weather events. Economic costs, estimated 2 to 4% GDP loss annually by 2050 without adaptation. Opportunities, potential to become green energy exporter to Europe. Social contract renegotiation. The implicit exchange of political acquiescence for stability and gradual improvement faces pressures. Demographic, younger population with higher expectations than previous generations. Informational, increased awareness of inequalities through digital connectivity. Comparative, perception of faster development in comparable nations. Conclusion, Morocco at a crossroads. The kingdom stands at a pivotal moment in its long history. It has successfully navigated the turbulent years of the Arab Spring through preemptive reform, maintained relative stability while neighboring countries faced conflict, and positioned itself as a regional economic and security actor. Yet profound challenges remain: creating opportunities for its youthful population, addressing glaring regional inequalities, managing increasingly severe water scarcity, and determining the final status of its southern territories. The monarchy's ability to balance tradition with adaptation, to facilitate economic growth while addressing social grievances, and to maintain strategic international partnerships while asserting national sovereignty will determine Morocco's trajectory in the coming decades. What emerges is a nation both ancient and contemporary, bound by tradition yet increasingly shaped by global currents, a country whose future will be written through the complex interaction of palace politics, economic imperatives, social transformations, and geopolitical calculations. The Moroccan exception, stability amid regional turmoil, gradual reform amid authoritarian persistence, cultural confidence amid global integration, continues to be tested and redefined. Morocco's many sides, African and Mediterranean, Arab and Amazigh, traditional and modern, monarchical and increasingly participatory, coexist in dynamic tension. How these tensions resolve will determine whether Morocco becomes a developed economy and regional leader or faces the middle-income traps and social pressures challenging many emerging nations. The next decade will likely prove decisive in this centuries-old kingdom's modern journey. Subscribe and like. Thank you for reading this comprehensive overview of Morocco. If you found this information valuable, white heavy checkmark subscribe for more in-depth explorations of world cultures, histories, and geopolitics. Thumbs up like if this guide helped you understand Morocco better. Counterclockwise arrows button share to spread knowledge about this fascinating North African kingdom. Morocco's story, from its imperial past to its modern ambitions, continues to unfold, blending deep tradition with forward-looking vision. Your engagement helps support the creation of more detailed, well-researched content.